Hey guys, what's up? Cia Grayson here. I thought we'd cover leveling heroes, and not just the old heroes from before, but also the new heroes from this latest event. So let's go check it out, let's talk about it, let's talk about things that heroes don't affect, and let's talk about things that they do affect. Okay, so let's get to it. So heroes affect a few of your stats. What they don't affect is they actually do not affect your home base power level, or what most of you know as your power level. It affects your gameplay in general. So you've got your bonuses. You notice in the game that Ray actually calls you Commander because you are playing different heroes. You are not the hero in the story. The hero is the hero. And you know, it's going to be Ramirez and all the characters that you've got going on. So when you pull up the heroes under your heroes tab, you have these things called bonuses. This is going to affect your gameplay substantially, especially later on in the game with Twine. So for example, if you take a look at Heavy Bass Kyle, he's got Feel the Bass. I love this new character. I've actually played him quite a bit, and it's true that I got him as my very first new event hero. What works really great with Heavy Bass, especially, let me switch over here. We go to our heroes. I don't have one, but what actually slots really well with Heavy Bass in the support side is going to be Shuriken Master. So the reason for the Shuriken Master Sarah with the Heavy Bass, if you're lucky enough to snag one of these, I have not yet, is the 20% to ability, all, not just ability, but all ability damage. And as you can see, it only says 10% here, but as you level her, that increases to 20%. Next in line is going to be Power Base because, you know, what everyone has said is, well, he just makes sense. Power Base and Tactical makes sense because of its healing ability. So structures attached to base regenerate 5% of their max health every 10 seconds. And this is something interesting that you have to pay attention to with all your characters is unless it specifically says within that hero's bonuses that it does not stack, it's going to stack. So unless specified with any character, it's more than likely going to stack. Now what I really like about the Heavy Bass in comparison to say something like, if you look up White Sushi, he actually talked about this and he broke it down in a really nice spreadsheet, or sorry, broke it down in a really nice post for everybody to take a look at. It covers actually 100 tiles in total versus say the one tile that a frag grenade would have for the keep out ability. Even though the frag grenade is at 101 damage and the base is at 45, which is half of the frag grenade, the radius of the damage. Also, what's really neat about this constructor is that you'll notice when you lay down the tiles, it also has electrified floors, and it goes off within 30 kills. So the first 30 kills that the base gets within that range of the 6 tiles on the ability, it then lights up and sends out a wave of damage. This damage is going to be plasma or energy based. What's also nice about this ability is based on the uptime, the base will proc 5.6 times more than the frag grenade. Next on the list of characters I'd like to play, I haven't got to play her yet. I'm currently leveling her, but she's definitely on my list, and here's the reasons why. She does really great damage, and she has good survivability. Now, depending on who you slot with Harvester Sarah, or with the Harvester class, basically, is going to determine whether she's going to have more damage or greater survivability. However, she has both, which makes her a really great ally. If you're looking for straight up damage, then you'll definitely want to go with Deadly Blade. He has an ability called Corrosion, which means critical hits from melee weapons deal 15% of hit damage every second for 3 seconds while reducing movement speed by 30. So it also has that snare and it gets that 15% hit damage every second. If you're wanting to up your survivability and prefer this tactic, Alchemist is the route to go. So why the Alchemist is so important is this ability in bonuses. So every 4th hit with a melee weapon restores 10 base health. In comparison to, say, maybe the Master Grenadier or MGR, it only recovers 3 health per second for 3 seconds. And if that isn't enough, she also has Medicinal Fumes, which is a smoke bomb that now heals allies who enter the affected area, restoring 3 base health every second, including herself. The Harvester is built around the Scythe weapon. She gets increased damage of swords, axes, and scythes by 24%. She also has Scythe to meet you, which the attacks apply a 30% snare for 1 second. And also, in combination with Late Arrival, Scythes deal 48% increased damage to slowed or snared targets. If that isn't enough, she has Anatomy Lessons, which increases sword, axe, and, you guessed it, Scythe crit hit chance by 20%. So she also has the ability Dim Mak, which is the Shadow Stance continually recharges the ninja's shield at 20%, and since she goes into Shadow Stance by killing things, effectively she is in Shadow Stance all the time. Basically, she's constantly regenerating shields. Now, what's interesting about putting Thunderstrike in that tactical slot is that he has this ability called Dragon Daze. And basically, when your shield breaks, it triggers an AoE blast that deals 800 base impact and stuns nearby enemies for 1 second. So if you couple Dragon Daze with Harvester Sarah's Dim Mak ability, this would basically mean that it would trigger an attack and stun constantly. So effectively, you could have a Harvester, and a Thunderstrike, or you could do a Harvester, a Deadly Blade, and a Thunderstrike. It really depends on how you want to play this character. So let's talk about Bulletstorm Jonesy. The interesting thing about this character is he's really strong against single targets that have high HP. Basically targets that are hard to kill, like the Smasher. Okay, so the trick to this character is that he's going to need a weapon with a high mag size. The beginning, when he's shooting the first part of his mag, he's going to be weak. At 11 shots, he's actually on par with UA. And then the following 9 shots after that actually make him superior at 12% better than UA. But as I said, you're going to need a high magazine size to make this work in your favor. Basically, you don't want to be constantly reloading. Now, how does he compare to the other soldiers? Well, his war cry is actually not as great as Special Forces. And again, if we're comparing him to UA has a keep out ability, which is fantastic, that he doesn't possess. I personally haven't tried Bulletstorm just yet, but he seems like a really neat character as long as you're up against, say, a really high HP mob. So if you're liking to use ARs with this character, which you're going to want to probably use since he is essentially a bullet hound, is a MGR or a berserker class like Wukong. Basically, you're going to want to put some high damage in there with this character. One of the biggest characters that just fell short for me and highly disappointed me was Shot Jess. Now, for those of you that like to play her earlier in the game, maybe in Plankerton or Stonewood, you know, it doesn't really matter what kind of character you're playing before Twine. So if you want to play something just to try it out, it's going to actually scale well and everything, but in Twine with Shot, she just doesn't do enough damage, and Teddy at this point is complete trash. What even further confuses me is I know the name Shot derives from the Teddy, and she uses a sniper rifle in order to charge that ability to bring the Teds out. I just don't understand why she's not a sniper, why she doesn't have more abilities based around that, and it seems like they're really trying to push this Teddy ability, but they really need to have more damage on the Teddies. You need to multiply that damage by at least 4 or 5 in order to make it worse than UA. And this goes in lines with I really wanted to like the Reclaimer as well, but the same thing. Teddies just, again, entwined, do trash for damage. So unfortunately, this character just didn't make it on my list for playability. For those of you that are actually new to Fortnite PvE, I have a lot of people asking me how their hero affects their home base power level and how to level their home base power level. And the thing is, your hero has absolutely nothing to do with leveling your home base power level. That's all going to be in your survivors. So when you go into your survivor squads, until you get mythics, the most important thing to do is line up your personalities. That doesn't become as important once you go from the purple or the epic survivors to the legendary. At that point, it's all about matching up your bonuses, like your shield bonus or your chapter ability, or anything you're trying to line up in there. And that's just once you slot that mythic in your squad, then personality doesn't really matter as much. But if you don't have a mythic leader in that slot, then line up all your personalities, because that is all that matters until that point. You don't really see, I've leveled mine up a little too high here, but you don't really want to level your epics beyond 20. It's just kind of pointless until you can replace those with legendary survivors. So not only does your survivor squads affect your home base power level, which is this guy right here, but also your skill trees. Not your research points, but your skill trees. You're going to find these guys on the top here. See, these are your skill trees, and you're going to level these up. At first, you're not going to have the choice as to which direction you're going. You're just going to kind of grab all the points here until you start reaching into tier 2 and tier 3 level. Then you got to be a little more picky about your points, especially when you hit tier 4. And the reason why we do the skill trees is it increases your home base power, and you want to pick nodes that work toward fort stats that will increase your home base power. Your fortitude, your offense, your resistance, and your tech. So has anyone really topped UA as the meta character in game to play? The answer to that, in my opinion, is still no. If you really want a character that does full damage, you want to play UA. So if you're like me and you actually like to use UA and you like using assault rifles with UA, I typically like to put the MGR in the support and the Wukong or the Berserker class in tactical. And that's simply because of the bonuses that the MGR has with assault damage. Now Wukong also has this as well. However, if you go into his bonuses, since he has both as well, he has something called Hold Still, which replaces shockwave knockback with increased impact and 2.5 second enemy stun. So what's nice about, I think, slotting the two of these together is you get higher damage with the UA, and that's why I prefer to do that over the secondary UA. Also, I don't have a secondary UA for that support slot, so this is what I go with and how what I basically feel would be the next best choice in that situation. When people ask me what it is they should play, basically I ask them, what is their play style? Are you wanting to build a character that is around single target damage, you want to take down the big boys? Or do you want to do more of a trap hall type character like MGR or Dragon, where you're the guy out in the front doing the dragon slash or throwing grenades? And UA is also, has that great keep out ability for getting rid of the trash as well. So it really depends on your playing style. So if you're wanting to know what to play, You gotta take a look at how and what you enjoy doing as a main character. And at the very least, you know, if you're just wanting to play the game and you're like, hey, I just want to play the game, what you want to do is just read, compare, figure out, like, you know, these bonuses are right here in front of you. How is that going to affect your main character that you're playing? Look at their abilities, read over them. That's what's most important when deciding what you want to slot in that support slot or the tactical slot. You know, these little icons right here, that's your first clue. So MGR is a little different because MGR has both support and tactical, as does Wukong. The mythic characters do, but a lot of them have one or the other highlighted, as you can see. Some of them have tactical, some of them have support, and others don't have anything highlighted at all. As you can see right here with Dragon, he has support, but he doesn't have tactical. So when making that choice, just make sure the right icon is actually highlighted and you put them in the right place here, at the very least. Alright guys, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, just comment below and let me know and I'll answer them as soon as I get them. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Take care, guys.